Hello, my crafty friend, and thank you so much for tuning in to today's little junk journal flip through. I call this journal The Girl with an Emerald Earring for a very obvious reason. The cover image is this beautiful reproduction of a painting of a girl with just stunning ancient ornaments. Besides making journals, my other business is making gemstone jewelry. And there was a day when I did an image search for ancient earrings specifically. And this painting came up as one of the search results. And unfortunately, there was no artist credit given, so I don't know who painted this or when or what the backstory is with the model. But she was just so gorgeous. I love the extravagance of her earring and the cool ancient coin design of her necklace, the fabric, the textiles in her headscarf, just everything about her, from the look in her eyes to the fabrics and the jewels she's adorned with, just the whole thing spoke to me. And so more recently, when I picked up a jar of broken jewelry at a local thrift shop, and this single earring was in it, I thought, there's a journal cover. And that's the backstory. One of the rhinestones in this earring had broken out. I don't know about you guys, but here's a crafty tip. If you make junk journals or you make any kind of art out of recycled items, look for jars or baggies of broken jewelry at your nearest thrift shop, because there really are treasures in there. Of course, it's not real silver and these are not real gems, but the effect when it gets glued onto a book is just, it adds so much texture and sparkle and movement. And being able to see an earring, even though it's not identical to the earring in the painting, it gives a really cool repetitive look to it. So anyway, one of the rhinestones had broken out, and so I made it even more precious by gluing in actual emerald chips. So if you see this little mound, sorry, I'm trying to get the camera to focus on it, this little mound of gem chips in the second tier of the kind of stepped pyramid shape on that earring, those are actual emeralds. And to me, that makes this book more of a treasure journal than a junk journal, which is something I kind of go for in my style, to make something precious out of these recycled materials. So the rest of the cover, I tried to kind of stick with an antiquities theme or a classics theme. And so the leaf trim is inspired by Roman and Greek interior design and kind of the way they would use natural motifs. The top has this really cool piece of sari trim that I carried to the bottom as well with the sequin details. The main fabric on the cover is a snippet from a recycled old scarf, and I felt that that kind of nicely mirrored the scarf on her head. And then the tassel, it is removable, as they always are when I make my journals. And it features a really cool collection of fabric strips, ribbons, really cool gingham pieces, rickrack, not gingham, rickrack, and buttons out of my grandmom's button stash. I was really lucky. The last time I showed her one of my junk journals, she brought me a big box of her buttons and invited me to go through and pick out the ones I liked. So I wound up with a really cool stash, a cool collection. And I decided to kind of go with a green color scheme for this, inspired by the emerald. So a couple really fun vintage green buttons. And one of the buttons in her collection was based on a Greek or a Roman coin. I'm guessing Greek because Alexander. Or was he Roman? I'm so sorry. You can tell I didn't study classics when I went to art school. Or maybe I did, but it was in one ear, out the other. I think Alexander was Greek. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, since the journal theme is based on the classic world, I felt like that button went really well with the theme. And then a really cool bright green glass bead. It's a little cracked, but it's still gorgeous. So yeah, you can either keep that on your journal or clip it to something else as you like. There's also a little yellow bead pinned to it. So the front cover, it has a lot of texture, a little rosette made out of some trim. This actually flips up too, so you could tuck something under here if you wanted. And there is a closure of an elastic that I attached to the back cover. The back cover is just a really fun mix of fabrics. This is also out of my grandmom's scrap stash. It's nice coming from a crafty family because you wind up with a lot of fun supplies that others have collected, and I think that just adds to the story of a piece. So yeah, the closure just looks like this when it's closed up. Personally, I would probably leave the closure off unless I'm taking my journal somewhere, just because it looks so cool just as it is. And then on the side, you can see I've added lots of fun bits that I will get to as we look through the book. The bottom has some nice danglies. The top has some stuff peeking out. What I love about junk journals is that you get to play with colors and textures as well as find creative ways to recycle paper ephemera. All right, so the inside, I've lined the inside cover with this beautiful thrifted fabric that I found, and it just reminds me of like a fairy tale garden or something. Those fine golden lines actually shine a little bit. We've got beautiful strawberries growing on a vine and just such magical illuminated flowers. And I made a tuck spot out of a purple sari trim rose and just threw a couple little goodies into there, including this little scrap cut from an art history book of a Roman mosaic, a pair of stunning ancient Roman earrings that I found online with the little cupids. That's just blank on the back, so it's a little fun mini journaling card hidden there for you. And an altered craft envelope to give you some journaling space. So you can maybe write your dedication for the book, what you intend to keep in this junk journal. Maybe it's a gift so you can inscribe who it's for. And then these are actual stamps from Greece. I like to put genuine vintage pieces in each of my books so that you get something historical, something significant. So this ancient architecture feature just looked so cool, and it went with, I feel, the bridge, the Eiffel Tower, and the theater that are on this. On the first page, the little tiny pagelet is a piece of beautiful embossed paper from India, and the journaling card is actually held on by a magnet that I made. I printed out this cool little ruby and glued a magnet to the back of that, and then I had another piece of broken thrifted jewelry with a faux ruby and faux pearls. It looks like the style of a lot of classic jewelry. They used a lot of rubies, pearls, emeralds, the precious gems. And I made a journaling card out of an image of a really beautiful mural from Pompeii. And I antiqued the back using some distress ink. So there's another fun journaling card. And you can obviously put this magnet wherever you want in the book, but I just love the way it looked right in the very front. Here's another journaling card made out of a print I printed out of the Four Seasons, which is a really famous Roman mosaic. And it shows spring, summer, fall, and winter, all made in tiny tiles. And the back is blank for you to journal. Again, kind of antiqued around the edges. It's held on with a paper clip to which I added a little faux pearl. And then on the other side, there's another journaling card showing styles of ancient dress. Blank for you to journal on. And this page, I suppose I should take this right off to show you the page. It's from an antique, not an antique, sorry, a vintage ledger from the 1960s. So where you see the yellowing on the edges of that page, that is natural. That's an actual vintage piece. So I always try to remember that junk journals are journals, and so you have some space for collaging like this, and some space for writing like the ledger, and on the backs of the journal cards. This beautiful print. This is scrapbook paper. I glued some sari, recycled sari, and sari trim as a tab. I made a pocket using a piece that I cut from a book of handmade papers from India. And then in that pocket, I stuck some really big stickers. So you can either use these to decorate this journal or to decorate gifts or letters that you write people, whatever you want. But this one's my favorite. I just love that sticker. I used one of these in my own journal as well. So this page has a tuck spot that I made from another printout of really cool ancient earrings. Just look at the detail in those. I wish my printer had done a better job of capturing the detail, but the two horses, the crescent moon, the flower, all the dangles, like those are, I really feel like jewelry is a very special art form. It's wearable art. Into that tuck spot, I added an origami envelope that I folded out of this cool mandala paper my uncle gave me. I left it empty, so you can fill up that envelope with whatever you like. And I also tucked into there a little mini journaling card with prints of more ancient emerald earrings. Roman and Etruscan design. Really, really cool. And antiqued the back with some distress ink. And then I clipped onto here a tiny little key charm. This was also part of my grandmom's button stash, and I just thought it went nicely with this book. So this is coffee dyed paper. I made a fabric flip using some recycled beaded sari. This is just stunningly detailed. Beaded and sequined, really gorgeous fabric. I was originally going to put this on the cover, but I felt like too much of it would have been covered up, and I wanted the whole lush piece to be left visible, so I made that into just a fabric flip. This page has a belly band using more of that handmade cotton paper from India, and a snippet of beautiful embroidered trim. And into that tuck spot, I put a journaling card that I made from coffee dyed drawing paper with a stamp of a jewelry box. So kind of keeping with the jewelry theme in this book. Just imagine all the treasures you find when you go through somebody's jewelry box. I could spend hours nerding out on jewelry. So some antique music paper from 1935 with a little tab of more stunning sari trim. A page from a book about Greek architecture, and it folds out so you see this magical staircase in the ruins going to that blue sky. On the other side, there's a quote: "Where the rewards of valor are the greatest, there you will find also the best and bravest spirits among the people." So, kind of a reward-based way to encourage people to be brave. I like that it's reward-based rather than punishment, fear-based. But you can always collage over this or paint it white with some gesso so you can write over that. Glue some coffee dyed paper to the back of it. If you don't like the quote, you can cover it up with anything you like. This is some vintage French book paper. This is a really fun detail, I think. I made a few of these last year that are sari trim tabs, but you can take it off and move it to anywhere in the book that you like, or use it as a bookmark in another book. And I left one side open to hold a little mini junk journal. So this mini junk journal opens, and you'll find inside it a little surprise printout I made of an emerald crystal. Blank on the back so you can write a little treasure of a message on it. And then this little mini junk journal has all kinds of different paper scraps. I always like to look for creative ways to use up all of my scraps when I do a project, and I think mini journals are one of the funnest ways to use a scrap. So let's see if I'll be able to get this back in on camera. Good. I love it when things are easy. On the other side of that page, a beautiful ancient Roman woman with flowers and the beach. This page is the other half of this image. So there's the rest of the stairs with a pretty hanging trim. And then here is another magnet. And when I turn the page, you'll see what that's holding in. Here's another broken earring from the jar of broken thrifted jewelry. I absolutely love it. I think it's beautiful. And it has that classic Roman style to it. So I cut this out from a really beautiful scrapbook paper, left it blank so you can journal on the other side. And then this flips down and shows a gorgeous water garden scene. Beautiful flowers. This is the kind of page that you can use as a backdrop for things you want to collage. One thing I would suggest to do with a page like this, if you're looking for how to fill it up, is take sticky notes. You know those bright colored sticky notes, page flags? You can stick sticky notes onto it and write things on those. You can get a white gel pen or any color of gel pen and write over top of the images. And then that page is also a tuck spot where I put just a little journaling card using more of that beautiful, beautiful paper. And this you can also glue down somewhere if you want to put it permanently in the book. But I do think it just looked lovely with that magnet. I sewed some fabric right into the signature to add some fun texture. This page is made out of a folded over coffee dyed envelope. And I found this pretty image of tile work mosaic from Rome. And that's a tuck spot holding in another beautiful ancient woman with her gorgeous jewelry. Just look at her tiara, her earrings, her beaded necklace. Like, anybody who's into creative jewelry design will probably be as impressed by this picture as I am. And of course, lots of blank space to write your messages, do your journaling. This flips over. I adorned the top flap of that envelope just with some sari trim. And I tucked, of course, some fun extras inside. Another beautiful old Roman mosaic piece. And another Roman mosaic piece. When I get on a theme, I really get on that theme. So since it was a classics theme, I really went for it. This page has a little pocket using an offcut of this beautiful starry paper, scrapbook paper. And it has a marbled scrapbook paper journaling card tucked into the pocket, and an image that I printed on grid paper, graph paper. It's a little hard to get this back in because it's a very tight little pocket. But I like doing that on camera so that you can see it's possible. And then I really like this trim. Like I said, I used some of it on the cover and some of it as an edge for this page. Really pretty leaves. And then the other side of that offcut is a pocket on the back where I tucked a really pretty little metal bookmark with butterflies, and it's green, so going with the green color scheme. And I put some little tickets into here. These tickets are a lot of fun to use for collaging. And that was actually a souvenir that I bought in Chinatown in Vancouver years ago when I lived there. Some really beautiful vintage wrapping paper that I bought and then hoarded and then decided I finally have to use it in something. But how pretty is that? And then the center of the signature is a little tiny coffee dyed paper that I printed this flower garden journaling page onto. And then of course I dangled some beads, as I do. The green stone is a stone called serpentine, so that's a natural gem. And then some glass beads. Really fun green glass beads. These I also found on a thrifted necklace, and I was really excited to find them because you can tell they are handmade glass beads. They're not manufactured plastic. So very fun. And then you'll see the other sides of a lot of these papers. A lot of them I left blank on the back for your journaling. I made this little tag out of another scrap of fabric from my grandmom's stash, and I wrapped lace around it as a little pocket. It's backed with some embossed wallpaper, and then inside the pocket I put a collection of little miniature pieces of antique wallpaper. These were from a Sears catalog wallpaper sample book from 1927. So almost 100 years old. A lot of them have little bits of gold and silver, so I'm trying to get the camera to pick it up. But yeah, they're really cute. So you can use those glued down into collages, or make them into little mini pockets or tuck spots, or do what I do and just hoard them. Just keep them as they are because they're so sweet. I might make more of these little lace pocket tags because I try to put something unique into each journal, something one of a kind that I've never done before, and that was it for this one. So on the other side of this printed grid paper, sorry about the noise, I'm pausing as a really loud, obnoxious car drives by outside. So yeah, the paper clip has some really pretty gold fabric tied to the top just for a little texture. And then I made a little scrap strip flip booklet. That's kind of a tongue twister. Scrap strip flip booklet. So more of that paper from the art history textbook, more of the grid paper, some coffee dyed paper, and some pretty green fabric. I like putting little things like this in the journals so that if you want to write down, I've said this in other videos, but I'll say it again, a place to jot down a shopping list or an email address or a password or a phone number. It's a good little place to keep those little tiny messages you want to write. So here's the other side of that envelope, and I made a fabric flip using this beautiful piece of sari with that kind of bejeweled medallion detail. That flips up so you can open the envelope. This beautiful picture is also a tuck spot, so you can put a little secret something in here, which I've done. Look at that tricolor tourmaline gem that I printed out. So that's blank on the other side. You can actually write a secret message there. And then inside the pocket, inside the envelope, trying to see if I put anything in there. I didn't. I left this one empty, so you can use that to tuck your own little paper treasures. I'm looking at my table. I've got one of my business cards for my jewelry shop, so I'll tuck one of those in there. Just because I don't like leaving any pockets totally empty. It's nice to find little things inside your book. Just look at that gorgeous sari trim pocket that's on the back here. So there's a mosaic tile piece, again from ancient Rome, of a bird. And I thought color scheme wise, it just went perfectly with that embroidered bird sari trim. So here's the other side of that pretty purple fabric. This is one of my favorite pages in the whole book. So see the texture on this paper? It's actually linen paper. Distressed the edges with distress ink. And that folds open here, so lots of space for journaling. And then when it flips down, it's magical information about emerald crystals. So there, for the girl with the emerald earring, it tells you a little bit about her jewelry. I think this would be a great book for somebody who has a birthday in May. Emerald is the birthstone for the month of May. But I do believe we can all wear all of the gemstones. You don't have to have, for example, an October birthday to wear opals or a May birthday to wear emeralds. We can all wear whichever gems we like. So it would also be a great booklet for somebody who loves emeralds. So that is also a secret pocket. And inside that secret pocket, I've put some real emeralds in this fun little specimen card that I've antiqued with more ink. So all of those are actual, real, genuine. There's no dye on these. That's the color nature made them. Tiny, precious emeralds. And I like having the emeralds behind the page telling you about emeralds. Some more coffee dyed paper. I've clipped this pretty embroidered sari trim to it and added another broken earring that I found thrifting. And that has some little chips of real green stones. I don't think these are, well, I know these are not emeralds. They could either be green jade or green aventurine. Definitely a green semi-precious stone. And it just had that look of classic ancient sort of jewelry. And so there is more of it on the other side. So you can take off the paper clip and use this fabric wherever you'd like to. I'm gonna try to take it off without snagging it. There. So you can see the whole piece. How pretty is that? So you can glue it somewhere like this, like a fabric flip, or on the edge of a book page. You can also individually cut out the leaves and use them, or cut out the flowers and use them for something. Put that back on. So there's the other side of that French vintage book page with a really pretty embroidered trim. This reminds me of Roman tiles. The other side of that book page. Here's another fun one. So you see this tiled mosaic. It flips down. And it flips over to show one of my favorite paintings from antiquity. This is actually one of the paintings they found in Pompeii. And I love this pensive woman holding a book, looking beautiful in all her jewelry. And it's actually a tuck spot. So I put the little strip that is the caption to this image. A Pompeian girl muses over a book reflecting the upper-class life of fine clothes and leisure to pursue cultured pastimes. So that way you know what this image actually is. And I felt like it just went perfectly in a junk journal, because journaling, musing over a book, it's a cultured pastime that we kind of all get to have in our era. We're very lucky to live in a time when reading and writing, literacy, is not reserved exclusively for the rich. We all get to do it. So this page has more ancient earrings as a tuck spot, or you can flip this over and do some secret journaling on the back. And I've dangled from that a fun little tassel that I made using some offcuts of recycled sari trim. And then a sari trim tab with this beautiful green trim. I just love how luscious this is. Looking at this trim reminds me of the feeling of putting bare feet in the grass, right? That kind of spring garden, summer garden feeling. There's something really fresh about the color green. Some more coffee dyed paper. Another little sequin tab. I think that's the last little tab. This paper with a pretty embroidered flower with a little mirror detail. That's funny, that mirror is reflecting the poster on my wall of gemstones. I'll flip out more of that ledger from the 1960s. The other side of that embossed paper from India. And that brings us to the very back cover, where you see this lush trim. Still like grass, but maybe at midnight. Night garden. And so the pocket on the back is this beautiful bejeweled silver and gold sari trim. And inside the pocket, I made a fun little piece using a Victorian calling card. That's not a printable, that's the original authentic antique piece from the 1870s. So 150-year-old piece of paper for you to play with. This actually pops out so you can use it as a tuck spot. I made her a bracelet out of layers of fabric scraps with this cutout fabric rose. And I put this on a piece of that antique French paper. And those are original notes. So this antique French book was actually a play. So I think maybe one of the actors or actresses, or sorry, I should be more feminist about this. They're all actors instead of gendering the word. So one of the actors may have circled things and changed some of the lines, perhaps. Or somebody studying the play. That's fun. And this is also a little secret pocket. So I didn't put anything in it. I'll grab something to put in it right now from off my desk, just so you can see. This might not even fit in it. I'll fold it in half and put it in there. There, a little outer space paper. So yeah, you can use this for collage work, ripping off bits of the paper to collage here and there. You can use it as a backdrop to glue other things. You can paint it white and write over it, or you can keep it as it is and write your little notes in the margins. There's so many different things you can do. I'm thinking of maybe making a video. Let me know if you'd be interested in such a video. but I've been thinking of making a video about how to use junk journals, what to write in them, how to use those book pages, how to use the pocket pages, just basically what to do with it. Because I've had some people tell me that they're too pretty to write in. They don't want to mess up the journal with their writing, which I think is kind of sad, because when I see a journal that's been filled up with somebody's writing, I feel like it becomes a collaborative art piece. It looks better once it's been written in than when it's all blank. So yeah, I've been thinking of maybe doing a little video about how to use a junk journal, what to write in it, what to draw in it, how to collage in it. Let me know if that's something that interests you, or if you have suggestions to people who ask that question of what do you do with the journal. Let me know that in a comment as well, because I always love to hear how others use them. But meanwhile, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope she inspires you as much as she inspires me, this ancient woman with her beautiful emerald earring. And if you're the viewer who happens to buy the book, I hope you love it. I hope that she brings you some happiness, and that the different pages inside fill you with inspiration and journaling fun. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to connecting in the comment section or in the next video. Bye for now.